What if I told you that every single day you interact with hundreds of artificial intelligences without even noticing? And what if I told you that one of these artificial intelligences is deciding right now whether you'll even finish watching this video? The answer to that isn't a conspiracy theory, but the reality of how our world works today. And I'll show you now what's behind it. You're here because you're curious. You've heard the term artificial intelligence countless times. In the news, in movies, maybe even in conversations with friends. But what does it really mean? Often it's associated with supercomputers or robots that want to take over the world. But the truth is much more subtle and far more fascinating. The problem is that most explanations are either too technical and boring or too superficial and sensational. They leave you either confused or with a wrong impression. My promise to you is simple. If you watch this video to the end, you'll not only understand what artificial intelligence is, but also how it works. You'll see the world with different eyes afterward, guaranteed. To understand what artificial intelligence fundamentally is, we need to take a little trip back in time. Imagine you're a programmer in the 1980s. You're supposed to write a program that recognizes a cat in a picture. How would you go about that? You could try to define rules. A cat has 2 pointy ears, 4 legs, a tail, and whiskers. Sounds logical, right? But what about a cat photographed from the side showing only 1 ear? What about a cat whose tail is hidden? What about a sphinx cat without fur? You quickly realize you won't get far with fixed rules. The real world is too complex, too messy. This is exactly where classical programming failed for decades. And this is exactly where the story of modern artificial intelligence begins. The revolution came with an idea that's as simple as it is brilliant. What if we don't tell the computer how to recognize a cat, but simply teach it to learn it itself? This is the birth of machine learning, the heart of almost all artificial intelligence systems we use today. Instead of writing rules, we feed the computer data. In our case, hundreds of thousands of images. Some show cats, others don't. For each image, we tell the computer, this is a cat or this is not a cat. And now comes the magical part. The computer starts to recognize patterns independently. It learns which pixel combinations, which shapes and textures typically indicate a cat. It develops its own set of rules, a set of rules so complex that no human could ever have written it. After countless runs, the system, which we now call a neural network, is able to recognize a cat in a completely new image with astonishing precision. But I'll tell you the real reason why this works so well in just a few minutes. This basic principle, learning from data, is all around you. When Netflix suggests the next series to you, that's artificial intelligence. The system has learned from the viewing habits of millions of users which patterns indicate that you might like a certain series. When your email app automatically filters out a spam message, that's artificial intelligence. It has learned from billions of emails which word combinations and senders are typical for spam. And yes, even the YouTube algorithm that recommended this video to you is a massive artificial intelligence. It analyzes your behavior in real time. Which videos you watch, how long you watch them, which ones you like or comment on, to suggest content that keeps you on the platform for as long as possible. Every single interaction you have is a data point that feeds the system and makes it even better at understanding you. Creepy, maybe, but also incredibly powerful. Now it gets even more exciting. Within machine learning, there's an even more powerful method, so-called deep learning. Imagine our cat example again. A simple neural network looks at the image as a whole. A deep neural network, a deep learning model, has several layers. The first layer might only recognize very simple things like edges and corners. The next layer learns to combine these edges and corners into more complex shapes, like eyes or ears. The subsequent layer combines these shapes into faces or body parts. And the last layer then decides. The combination of these features corresponds to a cat with a probability of 98%. It's like an assembly line of abstraction. This hierarchical type of pattern recognition is modeled after the human brain and is the reason why artificial intelligence can do such incredible things today, from real-time language translation to composing pieces of music that emotionally move us. But I'll show you the biggest mistake almost everyone makes when thinking about the capabilities of artificial intelligence at the end of the video. It's important to understand that almost everything we call artificial intelligence today is so-called weak or narrow artificial intelligence, also called artificial narrow intelligence. These systems are masters at a single task. An artificial intelligence can play chess better than any human, but you can't ask it what the weather will be like tomorrow. The artificial intelligence that filters your spam can't drive a car. The artificial intelligence that detects cancer in X-rays can't write poems. They are highly specialized tools, nothing more and nothing less. The type of artificial intelligence you know from movies like Terminator or I, Robot is called strong artificial intelligence or artificial general intelligence, AGI. That would be a machine with consciousness capable of understanding, learning, and performing any intellectual task a human can. It could be creative, solve problems in completely new contexts, and even have emotions. The truth is, we are still light years away from that. Nobody knows if we can ever create such an AGI or how that would even work. Consciousness is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of science. A machine that only processes data, no matter how fast, still doesn't have a sense of self, intentions, or desires. And here we come to the biggest mistake many people make. We anthropomorphize artificial intelligence. When an artificial intelligence like ChatGPT writes text that feels human, we think it understands what it's writing. But it doesn't. It's an extremely complex pattern recognition system. It has learned from a huge part of the internet which words are statistically most likely to follow each other. It strings words together to generate a response that resembles the structure of the data it was trained on. It's a mathematical feat, a brilliant illusion of understanding, but it's not real intelligence in the human sense. It's a tool, an incredibly powerful tool that will change our world, but still just a tool. So what does that mean for you? It means you're in control. Artificial intelligence isn't a fate that's thrust upon us. It's a technology that we can and must shape. It will create new jobs and make old ones obsolete. It has the potential to help us solve the greatest challenges of our time, but it also carries risks from algorithmic bias to job losses. The most important skill in the 21st century isn't being able to program. It's understanding how these systems think, what their strengths and limitations are, because only then can you use them confidently instead of being used by them. You've made it this far. You've understood that artificial intelligence isn't magic, but the result of clever algorithms that learn from data. You know that we are far from true superintelligence, and that today's systems are highly specialized tools. You've learned that the key lies in machine learning and deep neural networks. You now see the world a little differently. The most important insight I want to give you is this. Don't view artificial intelligence as a threat, but as the most powerful lever humanity has ever held. The question isn't whether it will shape our future, but how. And the answer to that question begins with the knowledge you've just acquired. Think about it. If you're curious and want to learn more, subscribe now for free.